Hello and welcome, everybody. Hi, my name is Lisa, and I'm also known as Job Coach Germany. Hello, you beautiful miracles all around the globe. I hope you had a wonderful weekend and a great start into the week yesterday, and you are still working hard and committed to finding and landing that dream job of yours, and that you are dedicated to write your job applications. Today, I want to talk to you about a topic that I used for my newsletter. And when I was writing that newsletter, I thought, oh, this is a special topic that I should probably address in one of the videos. And it's about how to follow up with the companies after you've had a job interview. So what normally happens in my newsletters is that I send out my newsletter once a week, and it contains lots and lots of information regarding the German job market, also some insights on your application process. So with regards to CVs or cover letters, or just simply, how to stay motivated, for example. And I have different topics that I normally focus on each month, and this month it's all about calling the company. So I've already covered a couple of topics, such as how to find the right contact, when to contact after sending your application. And another topic that I would like to discuss with you today is how to deal with a situation after you've had your job interview already, but you're not hearing back from the company. So, and Mukesh is here again. Hi. Thank you very much. Let's put you here on stage. Hi, Lisa. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mukesh. I'm happy that you're here. So I'm talking about how to follow up with the company after you've sent your application. So a general time frame that you should stick to, that you need to keep in mind. And that is also very difficult when I'm talking to my coachees, when I'm working with my coachees very closely. They are always very surprised that it takes so long for the recruiters to answer. So you should give or allow between 10 to 15 working days for the recruiter to take a look at your job application documents. So it's basically 2 to 3 weeks, and that is what you can expect. So when you are sending your applications, it might be that you don't hear anything back for 2 to 3 weeks. And after you've received a confirmation email, hopefully. So, and what you should then do is to be a little bit proactive. And Petra's here, hi, and Vinit is here, hi. Okay, so you should be a little bit proactive. That basically means you need to take a step towards the company. That basically means that you need to contact them. Sometimes that can even be a hurdle, that can even be an obstacle in your job application process, because that's what the company is looking for. The company is looking for you to call them, for them to see that you're really interested in that job. So why give it 10 to 15 days? Well, this from my experience, having worked in HR for more than 10 years, is that there are so many things that an HR recruiter or just an HR generalist has to do, you cannot imagine. So you might think that you are sending your application to that person, and all they are doing all day is looking at applications, screening applications, and then forwarding that to the particular respective technical department. That's not how it works. So what we are normally doing is that we receive lots and lots of applications, but we will probably pile them up. And Wiebke is here. Hi. So sometimes it happens that it piles up, and this process of screening the job application documents and then going into a discussion with all of the parties that are involved in hiring a person, this can take a lot of time, and it can be spread over several days. So that means that first, for example, I would receive the application. I would take a look at the rough data and take a look at screen the application documents for maybe 2 minutes maximum. and just find out, are the general ideas met? Like there are always internal guidelines on what we are expecting, like what the company is expecting of a coachee, of an applicant. And then obviously whether your application matches with the job role that you're applying to. So that's what I scan first. Then it's going to be, then there will be the first decision whether you make it or not. And then it goes on to a pile of other applications. And then there will be a meeting with maybe another HR generalist, then a person from the Works Council, and obviously your future hiring manager, so your future manager, who is the boss in your technical department. So these three people, at least three people, will meet to take a look at the selected people that I have screened as an HR generalist before. So I take a look at that. And we normally also have like a spreadsheet or an overview, and then the other people can take a look at that. Then we go through them, and then we decide whom to invite. And then there are maybe 3 to 5 candidates that are being invited. They go through sometimes a little assessment center, sometimes just a job interview. Throughout the pandemic, it's more likely to have a virtual call. But and then if they couldn't find anybody, we would go on with other candidates that are either still currently applying or that we still have in our file, in our stack of applications. So, and that can take a couple of days. And because we have so many other tasks to do as HR generalists, so HR generalists not only screen application documents, but we also write work contracts. We prepare the letters when you get a pay rise. We also prepare letters when you are leaving the company and get a certificate. We also write letters when somebody has a child and is now a daddy or a mommy. We also write letters for jubilees. Then we also are in contact with those people that, like with payroll, who are organizing that you are being paid on time and that you get the right amount and so on. Then obviously there are also other HR projects that we're working on, such as recruiting events. Then it could be that we are engaged with other departments to organize some sort of workshops to improve the processes and so on. And there are probably lots and lots of things that I've forgotten now. But see, this recruiting part is only a very, very tiny part. And there are so many other parties involved. So only a tiny part of the job that we HR people are doing. And then there are other parties involved, such as the Works Council and the technical manager. And finding a time slot when all three of them can get together to take a look at the already screened job applications, that can take up to 2 to 3 weeks. But if you haven't heard back after these 2 to 3 weeks, you should definitely call the company. And so you can do that after 10 working days. But if there are, for example, bank holidays in between, so this month, like in May and June, we've had so many bank holidays, I would always allow 15 working days before I contact the company, just because I know a lot of people take holidays, they are not there, so they go on vacation, and it takes them even longer to check the applications. But then obviously you finally have reached this destination, this time frame, the end of the time frame, and that basically means you should call. The same time frame applies for you when you have been to a job interview, but you are in a better position when you've been to a job interview. So here is some advice that I want to share with you that you need to be aware of before you go into the job interview, so that you are aware of what kind of notes you need to take. So you, at the end of the job interview, so they have asked their question, you've pitched yourself, they've asked the questions, you've asked your questions, and then at the end, the final question that you should ask is, how does the the further steps in this application process look like? When can I when do I receive an answer? When do you contact me? Also, so then they will give you an answer. They will give you an overview of the different things that will happen in the next few steps, whether they still have other candidates that they want to interview or not, and so on. Then you should also ask for all of their business cards. So all the people that are involved in this job interview, you should ask for their business cards, and just take them with you and ask them who is the person that I can contact in case I have any questions. Now that might be different people. You have now maybe received, and Pretty is here. Hi. So you have maybe received 3 different job interview, 3 different business cards. One from the HR person, one from the technical manager, and one from the works council guy or lady. And so these 3 business cards, you take them with you, and it's either that they will say, if you have general questions, please contact this HR person. So you have the business card of the HR person. Or they will say, okay, if you have any technical questions, please contact the technical manager. You then have the business card of the technical manager. So for you, it's now important to really stick to that request, to contact only that particular person that they tell you to contact, okay? This could be a test. And it could be annoying if you're contacting other people. Now, if nobody gets back to you, obviously I would use any business card that I have and call all of them. And here again, if you haven't heard back after 7 days, you can think about preparing your call. Yeah. And latest after 2 weeks, you should call them again and then go in that cycle again. Every 2 weeks, you contact them and ask them what's going on. Because sometimes, especially now in these really weird times where the job market is upside down, the companies sometimes don't even know where to start, and they are so overwhelmed and confused that they sometimes take longer to give you an answer. But it's always good for you to keep applying, so that if an option pops up, you can always call that other company and tell them, okay, I've now received a job offer. I'm sorry, but I have to go for that if you cannot make up your mind. That can make a little bit of pressure. However, it could also cause them to act more quickly. And you want to make sure that once you go out of the job interview, you now have these 3 business cards. So you're probably very excited. You want to call your spouse, you want to call your friends, you want to call your former colleagues, or whoever you want to call, because you're so excited because the job interview went so well. That's what happens if you work with me. Then after the job interview, you're normally very excited and want to talk to me. Lisa, everything went very well. And sometimes my coaches even call me in between. But so that's something that you need to keep in mind. You can be happy. You can share all of that information with your colleagues and friends, but make sure that you have a certain amount of time right after the job interview where you're taking notes. So you can take notes of all of the questions that they have asked. But first and foremost, it's important that you write down on the backside of that business card what you know about that person. So each of these people that were attending that job interview have introduced themselves to you. They have told you what they are doing, what they are responsible for, and that's what you should write down. And maybe they have talked about a little hobby, or maybe they have made a joke or something else, and that's what you want to write down. That's what you want to write down on that business card, and simply put it to that notes, or to all the other notes where you've written down the questions that they've asked you. This is very helpful. So the questions that you're writing down, the notes that you're taking on all the questions that were asked during the job interview, are very helpful for your next job interview, so that you are even better prepared. So it's very important that you write down all of those questions that you felt uncomfortable with, where you felt you were not really well prepared for, or a question that you thought, oh gosh, I would have never thought that they would ask something like that. So that's what you should take notes for, so that you can prepare that for the next job interview. Because with each job interview, you will get better because you are practicing that, and you will be more confident with every job interview. So now you've collected the business cards, you took notes on the different people, and you have a contact person that you can reach in case you have any questions. Now, if they don't come back to you, normally what happens after a job interview, if that's very, very good, if that went very well for the company as well, then they will contact you right away within 2 to 3 days, within 1 week at the most, because they need to make sure that you are not dropping out of that process of that application process. They need to make sure that you go for that particular company and that you are not going for any other competitor, because they know that you're applying with other companies. If you're currently in a state where you are applying for jobs, they know that you're also speaking to other companies, and it can be any time that you get a great offer and they cannot compete anymore. So they need to be very quick. But as I said, especially now, the job market is upside down, and sometimes companies are really overwhelmed with the processes that are going on currently, and that the market has changed so much that it's not a company-driven process when applying and recruiting anymore, but it's the applicant-driven market. So basically, the applicant has more choices now, and the companies have to be more engaged and interact with you a lot more. So, and that can be very frustrating because they are currently in a complete shift of their processes, especially in recruiting. So, and Christopher's here, hi. And so if they haven't called you after 7 days and they didn't give you an answer, you should definitely call them at least like 2 weeks after the job interview and get an update. Be always very polite, but be also very assertive. Tell them that you have other job offers and they were your preferred, your employer. They are your favorite. Unfortunately, you might have to go for somebody else if they don't come around with their decision soon. Yeah, so that is something that you can talk to them about. Obviously, if you find during the job interview there were some open questions and they need to get back to you, or you arranged with them, okay, we want to have a call again to answer all of the questions that you had, then it's possible that they either call you or that you call them again to find out, okay, what are their answers? Maybe you've asked for something else and they didn't know. Normally, because there are so many people involved in this job interview, they should be able to give you all of these answers. But who knows what you ask for? Maybe a place in the kindergarten for your child, or you are asking for them to pay for your German course. Maybe they have to first talk to somebody else within the company whether they can allow that or not. So those could be questions that you could get back with them. So, okay, that's basically what I wanted to share with you. So the most important parts are the timing when you're calling them, and sticking to the request of whom to contact. Whoever said during the job interview, contact me if you have any questions. And taking notes after the job interview so that you know what these people are about. Yeah, that's all about networking. That's good networking. It's the same advice that I give after you or during a careers fair. For example, when you go to a careers fair, always take notes on those people. You don't know when you will need that in the future. So then Mukesh has a question. The question is, I have a doubt on visa process. Does the company provide visa, or I have to do visa process myself? So that's a question that I get very often. With regards to visas, I'm not an expert, and that's what you can ask a lot of people in my network as well, who are working as relocation officers, or also who are working with a lot of expats. visas is a topic that is very country related. So you need to make sure that you get in touch with your embassy, or so with the German embassy in your country, and find out, okay, what are the requirements for the visa in Germany. Now, you can start the process on your own, so that you, for example, apply for a job seeker visa or something like that. But it's also possible that your company, when you have your job interview, can support you in that process. So, for example, you are not applying for a job seeker visa, but you are applying from abroad. That's what happens to a lot of my coachees. So they are applying from abroad, but they are going, for example, for the EU blue card, and not for job seeker visa. There is no point in them finding a job seeker visa because they already got the job, while they are still abroad. So for that, you should definitely talk to the company and figure out a way of how they can support you. And the companies can always support you. And it has become easier for the companies to go through that process since the 1st of March 2020, when they introduced the Skilled Immigration Act. So the government supports now the companies to make it easier for people from outside of the EU to enter the German labor market, because we have such a huge lack of skilled workers. But the pandemic has caused that this process is now even more difficult. So a lot of companies are unsure whether they can get their future employees into the country or not. Well, currently everything is fine, but throughout the pandemic, they have seen that visas can be quite difficult. Either visas were not extended, the applicants for visas didn't even get appointments with the embassies because the embassies were closed. And also some might get the visa, but they cannot enter the country because they have some sort of virus variant, which doesn't allow them to enter the German job market, Germany just in general. So that's something that I've seen. I've seen that with a lot of my coaches, that all of these different scenarios, and that's why companies are a little bit more hesitant with regards to sorting out the visa for their future employees. However, they cannot do that any longer because they are in such a huge lack of skilled workers, and we simply don't have them here in Germany. So they have to look for people from outside of the EU. And if you're very qualified, especially in your field, and you know how to communicate your motivation for that particular company, it shouldn't be an issue. Because you're a skilled professional, and that's what the German job market is looking for. And if you find the right company and the application process is good, then they will ensure that you have an easier way of how to apply for a visa, and they can support you with that. Yes. So I hope, Mukesh, that helped answering your question. So thank you very much, everybody, for showing up today, for your questions. And I hope this helped on, so basically the topic that I talked about was how to follow up after your job interview, how to call the company, what to say, and when to do that, and what kind of things you can do to be prepared for this call after the job interview. So it was a lovely afternoon with you guys, and I'll speak to you very soon. Have a wonderful afternoon. Bye-bye. Thank you.